Phase 1 launched with Iron Man, a film no one expected to birth an empire, especially with a lead character who was more metal than emotionally available. Tony Stark's arc reactor-powered charisma kick-started what would become the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka MCU. This phase also introduced the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton before Mark Ruffalo casually replaced him like a software update, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger, and finally the ultimate superhero group project, the Avengers. While not originally named as a phase, the idea formed when Nick Fury dropped the Avengers Initiative name in Iron Man's post-credits scene.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
What was initially just an Easter egg for fans suddenly became the seed for a massive shared universe. The connective tissue appeared subtly at first, cameos, hints, S.H.I.E.L.D. references, but by the Avengers, the crossover dream was in full swing. Villains in Phase 1 included Obadiah Stane, aka Ironmonger, Emil Blonsky, aka Abomination, Ivan Vanko, aka Whiplash, Loki, twice, and the very Red Skull. It also featured the first tease of Thanos smirking ominously in the Avengers post-credits scene, as well as 2 Infinity Stones, the Space Stone inside the Tesseract, and the Mind Stone hidden in Loki's scepter. Marvel even sprinkled in some one-shot short films, The Consultant, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer, and Item 47. Because why not add bonus content to your bonus content? With a combined budget of around $1 billion, Phase 1 grossed an impressive $3.8 billion. Not bad for a studio that once had to sell off Spider-Man and the X-Men just to stay afloat. Phase 2 started with Iron Man 3, where Tony deals with PTSD and a fake Mandarin, followed by Thor: The Dark World, which is, well, still the lowest rated MCU film, but it gave us the Reality Stone. Captain America: The Winter Soldier flipped the script with a spy thriller vibe and introduced us to Falcon and Bucky's post-brainwash glow-up. Guardians of the Galaxy brought in space pirates, a talking raccoon, and a sentient tree, and somehow made them lovable. Avengers: Age of Ultron introduced us the twins Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, Vision, and Rogue AI with a James Spader voice. The phase ended on a small but mighty note with Ant-Man. Phase 2 expanded the MCU scope, cosmic adventures, more advanced tech, and deeper emotional stakes. It also continued the Infinity Stone hunt, showing off the Power Stone in Guardians and Reality Stone, again in the Dark World. The villain roster included Aldrich Killian, Malekith, Alexander Pierce, Ronan the Accuser, Ultron, and Yellow Jacket. Marvel continued the one-shots with Agent Carter, which spun off into a series, and All Hail the King, redeeming the Mandarin twist. Plus, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show began, tying in real time with the fans until Marvel quietly stopped texting them back. With a budget of $1.1 billion, Phase 2 made over $5.2 billion and proved that this wasn't just a fluke, it was a superpowered juggernaut. Phase 3 was Marvel pulling out every stop it had, throwing magic, space gods, time travel, teenage superheroes, secret nations, and mad titans into one massive interconnected saga. It exploded with Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers: Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers: Endgame, and Spider-Man: Far From Home. After Civil War fractured the Avengers, Phase 3 leaned heavily into themes of distrust, legacy, and the messy fallout of trying to save the world without wrecking it in the process. Marvel expanded far beyond Earth, into the mystical dimensions like Doctor Strange fighting Dormammu on a time loop, and the cosmic chaos like Thor getting body slammed by Hulk in an alien gladiator arena. Even the villains got smarter and more sympathetic. Killmonger fought for justice in the wrong way, Vulture just wanted to feed his family, and Thanos genuinely believed he was saving the universe by wiping out half of it. Minor detail. The stakes kept rising until they snapped literally with Infinity War, where half the MCU got dusted like old furniture. Endgame followed, an emotional farewell tour filled with time heists, Mjolnir moments, and the ultimate sacrifice of Tony Stark, the man who started it all. By the time Far From Home swung by to pick up the emotional pieces, Phase 3 had cemented the MCU not just as a blockbuster cinema, but as modern myth-making. Villains of Phase 3? Buckle up. Zemo, who made sure the Avengers didn't trust each other anymore, Calakias, Ego the Living Planet, Vulture, Hela the goddess of death, Killmonger, Thanos with all his 6 Infinity Stones, and Mysterio. This phase was a gold mine with a combined budget of over $2 billion, and it grossed approximately $13.5 billion worldwide. Endgame even briefly became the highest grossing film of all time until Avatar decided to come out of retirement and take the title back. Critics universally praise this saga for its emotional depth, world building, and ability to make audiences care about a raccoon. After the Infinity Saga's conclusion, Phase 4 threw us into the Multiverse Saga. It kicked off with Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, alongside Disney Plus shows like WandaVision, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and She-Hulk. This phase wasn't just a new chapter. It was Marvel cracking open the multiverse, grieving fallen heroes, and letting chaos reign. With Tony Stark and Steve Rogers gone, Phase 4 wrestled with who would take up the mantle and how the world would heal or fall apart after Thanos' snap and Endgame's battle scars. Grief and identity took center stage. WandaVision had Wanda bending reality into a sitcom fever dream to cope with her loss. Falcon and the Winter Soldier tackled the burden of a black Captain America, and Shang-Chi fought his own family legacy, plus a dragon the size of a skyscraper for good measure. Gods literally battled gods in Thor Love and Thunder, with Thor and Jane Foster going hammer to hammer against Gore the God Butcher. Meanwhile, Spider-Man No Way Home blew the multiverse wide open, pulling in villains and heroes from old Spider-Man franchises, while Doctor Strange stumbled through universes where pizza balls exist and Illuminati members don't survive very long. Phase 4 ended on a bittersweet note with Wakanda Forever, honoring Chadwick Boseman's legacy while passing the Black Panther mantle to a new protector. It was messy, emotional, wildly ambitious, and the perfect launch pad for even bigger multiverse madness to come. Villains in the phase include Taskmaster, the Dweller in Darkness, the Deviants, Green Goblin, Scarlet Witch, Gore the God Butcher, and Namor. Plus, in the TV shows, we had He Who Remains, Kingpin, and Arthur Harrow. Phase 4 had its ups and downs with mixed reviews on some projects, but it grossed over $5 billion at the box office. With the introduction of the multiverse, a whole new reality was just waiting for us to get confused in. Phase 5 continued the multiverse saga, and if Phase 4 was the experimental freshman year, Phase 5 is Marvel trying to get its GPA back up. It brought Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America: Brave New World, and Thunderbolts, alongside Disney Plus series like Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, Echo, and Agatha Darkhold Diaries. This phase was supposed to build Kang the Conqueror into the next Thanos-level threat. Introduced fully in Quantumania, Kang, played by Jonathan Majors, was positioned as the terrifying new centerpiece of the multiverse saga, a man who didn't just snap his fingers, but erased entire timelines. However, after Majors' off-screen legal troubles, Marvel quietly hit the brakes on Kang's rise, leaving the future of the saga murkier than intended. Meanwhile, the heroes themselves were facing a universe spinning out of control. Scott Lang stumbled into the war for the quantum realm, the Guardians closed their story with a tearful farewell to Rocket's painful past, and Captain Marvel had to learn how to share cosmic responsibility with Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau in the Marvels. Earth wasn't doing much better. Sam Wilson fought political corruption as the new Captain America in Brave New World, while the Thunderbolts formed an unstoppable squad of misfit and anti-heroes. Phase 5 was messy, unpredictable, and fractured, just like the multiverse was trying to hold it together. Villains in Phase 5 range from Kang variants like He Who Remains and Victor Timely to the High Evolutionary, an absolute menace to anything cute and fluffy, and Gravik, a Skrull rebel in Secret Invasion who thought he could out-paranoia Nick Fury. Agatha Darkhold Diaries dive deep into magical villains and a lot of creepy witches, and Death, who has a crush on Agatha herself. Behind the scenes, Phase 5 suffered from heavy delays, reshoots, and rewrites, with Daredevil Born Again even rebooting itself halfway through filming. Meanwhile, Deadpool casually started breaking the fourth wall into the MCU, with Wolverine Yellow Suit included, tagging along, opening the possibilities for the X-Men and the other mutants to get their debut in the MCU. Phase 6 is Marvel Studios' biggest gamble yet, a multiverse-sized cleanup job to wrap the Multiverse saga and hopefully remind audiences why they fell in love with capes and cosmic chaos in the first place. But forget everything you thought you knew. After behind-the-scenes multiversal madness, including legal scandals, script overhauls, and shifting studio priorities, the former Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, has officially been retitled to Avengers Doomsday. And here's the real kicker. Robert Downey Jr. is back as Dr. Doom. Yep, the man who started it all as Tony Stark is returning to the MCU not as Iron Man, but as the most dangerous variant, Victor Von Doom, ruler of Latveria and the multiverse's biggest threat. It's the kind of meta-cast twist that breaks brains and timelines all at once. Fantastic Four will kick off Phase 6 in 2025, probably serving as Doom's dark origin story and the MCU debut of Marvel's first family. Expect this version to be set in the 60s or in a pocket dimension, depending on how weird Kevin Feige wants to get. It'll set the stage for Doomsday, which will see Doom's rise from brilliant monarch to multiversal nightmare. Other Phase 6 projects are shrouded in secrecy, but we know Avengers Secret Wars will close it all out, reportedly bringing together Fox's X-Men, Sony's Spider-Man, and pretty much anyone who's ever worn a cape or had action figures made of them. Rumors suggest Secret Wars will introduce the Beyonder, possibly played by a high-profile actor, think Oscar-winning cameo levels of hype. We're also getting Blade, assuming Marvel can finally stake down a script that doesn't scare off its star Mahershala Ali. The film promises supernatural horror and vampire slaying with MCU polish. A White Vision series, Vision Quest, is in development too, likely answering where Vision flew off after WandaVision, and whether he remembers anniversaries yet. On the villain front, Kang is seemingly out, written off or multiverse erased, and Doom is officially in. With RDJ Doom, Marvel may be setting up a darker, more philosophical antagonist, less snap half the universe and more reshape reality in my perfect image. Think Iron Man with zero guilt and a god complex the size of Battleworld. Directorial duties for Secret Wars are still a hot topic, but if the Russo brothers are back, expect another record-breaking epic with all the portal scenes, dramatic sacrifice monologues, and surprise entrances you can handle. Cameo predictions include every Spider-Man ever, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine again, and possibly even animated characters crossing over via some Across the Spider-Verse type portal madness. If Phase 6 delivers, it won't just save the MCU, it might redefine what superhero storytelling even looks like. And if it doesn't, well, we can always rewatch Endgame and pretend nothing else ever happened. And that's a wrap on our MCU Phases Explained. From a billionaire playboy building a suit of armor in a cave to alien gods learning humility on Earth, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has taken us through a whirlwind of heroes, villains, and endless surprises. Each phase has its own flavor, from building the team to breaking the multiverse. We've seen it all, but what's next? Well, Phase 6 give us the payoff we're all hoping for. Well, only time and a few more movies will tell. If you enjoyed the breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more insights, hero deep dives, and everything you need to keep up with the MCU. Until next time, keep your eyes on the multiverse.